StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई affordable.
Hello and a very warm welcome to my dearest students in today's class. As always, I bring you the fresh of the most fresh news from the past few hours which are important from the perspective of your UPSC examination. Not only the news but the way you should handle UPSC 2024 prelims will also be covered in the daily current affairs segment. Before I begin, I would like to tell you about the events that we are going to cover step by step. And of course, a course that we are launching. This is a prelims to interview course from 19th of June onwards, 6 p.m. From 6 p.m. you will have your classes on a daily basis with regular sessions, doubt sessions. This is a completely in English batch and it will help you understand the pattern and how to tackle prelims, mains as well as interview. For those of you who will qualify prelims 2024, you will be called to the StudyIQ campus for mains residential program as well. All this will be available just at rupees 60,000 only. But if you want to avail a discount, you can use the code PDLIVE to avail it at 29,999 only. Let's begin with the first question for today. Consider the following statements. FDI in space sector is allowed up to 100% in the areas of satellite establishment and operations through government route only. In space, which was created in 2019, plays an important role in boosting the private space sector economy in India. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? See, we have to understand certain terms such as FDI through government route only. The FDI, which will be allowed by the approval of the government, it is known as FDI through government route only. And yes, FDI in satellites establishment and operation is allowed up to 100%. This is definitely correct. In space, yes, it is an agency which is created to boost the engagement of private sector participation in the space sector. It was created in 2020 and not 2019. Only the first statement becomes correct. Many of you might miss this. That is why I have also taught you how to keep key things in mind. So first is correct, second is not correct, one only will be the correct answer. Let's begin with the explanation. FDI policy to boost private sector participation through startups will be unveiled soon, and in space is overlooking all this matter. So if we talk about FDI and the other important things in space sector, we have to keep in mind what the government is doing for the Department of Space. The center has earmarked $137 billion for Department of Space in the current budget. ISRO wants to build and strives to build cost-effective satellite and hence engage foreign companies in order to show that we are actually reliable and affordable. India constitutes 2 to 3% of the economy in the global space economy sector. It is expected to enhance its share more than 10% by 2030, and that is why it is important to engage private sector and boost revenue from foreign as well. India is the 6th largest space agency in the world. Also, it has signed 6 agreements with 4 countries for launching foreign satellites between the year 2021 to 2023. We are going to earn commercially as well. If we want to talk about the revenue, it is the potential 141 million to be earned by the space sector in India through the launching of this. Also, with over 400 private sector companies, India ranks 5th globally when it comes to space companies. So, private sector wants to be engaged in this sector as well. That is why FDI is important. Now, to facilitate private sector engagement in space was created in the year 2020. It is a single window independent autonomous agency, nodal agency, to ensure that private sector is also engaged fruitfully. It functions under the Department of Space. Remember that. Also, if it is ever asked the question with respect to why was there a need to create a single window system, because in order to create seamless engagement of private sector so that private sector doesn't go through a lot of hassle, this was done. The objectives include promoting, enabling and authorizing and supervising various space activities such as building of launch vehicles and satellites, providing space-based services and sharing of space infrastructure as well, and establishment of new space infrastructure and facilities. All these also are looked by in space. Alright, moving on to the next question. The next question is asking us, with respect to aircraft carriers, consider the following statements. The US has the most aircraft carriers in service, followed by China. Russia has no operational aircraft carrier and India has two aircraft carriers, INS Arihant and INS Vikramaditya. So what do we have to see? We have to see how many statements given above is or are correct. Alright, so is or are correct is the key that we have to see. First statement is definitely correct because US has the most aircraft carriers which are in service. Keywords here are in service. Many times we can have aircraft carriers but they are not operational. US has 11 followed by China. China actually has 2 but it has also unveiled 1. So 3 in total now. Russia actually has 1 aircraft carrier but it's not available for operation. So the keyword here is not operational aircraft. These are tricky questions that UPSC can throw at you. So second is also correct, first is also correct. India actually has 2 aircraft carriers, INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, not Arihant. So please do not get confused. Remember which kind of ship has what capabilities. All right. So 1 is correct, 2 is not, 2 is also correct, but 3 is not correct. So 2 statements only will be the correct answer. Moving on to the explanation part of it. Why have I asked you this question? Because twin carrier battle group operations were conducted with the help of INS Vikramaditya and INS Vikrant. And there are many choke points in the Indian Ocean. So in order to make sure that these choke points remain free from the dominance of any country, especially China, India does it. And these choke points are like Strait of Hormuz, Bab el-Mandeb, Mozambique Channel, Strait of Malacca. So if any country dominates this region, they will dominate the global trade as well. That is why it is important to do such operations so that this area remains free of any one country's dominance. All right. Now moving on to aircraft carriers. What are aircraft carriers? Actually, aircraft carriers are nothing but ships that are attached with a flight deck so that flight operations can take place easily. Under international laws, these are considered as sovereign territories until and unless they do not go into some other country's economic zone. So we have to remember about aircraft carriers in that manner. US has the most aircraft carriers in service at 11 ships followed by China and Britain. India has 2 Russian-built INS Vikramaditya and completely indigenously built INS Vikrant. Another indigenously built aircraft carrier is also coming to the place. After US, UK, France, Germany, China and Japan, India is only the 7th country in the world that has the capability to build its own aircraft carrier. Which of the following straits connects the East China Sea to the South China Sea? Luzon Strait, Taiwan Strait, Strait of Malacca, Balabac Strait. So why have I asked you this question is because tensions are rising high between China and Taiwan. That is why this question becomes necessary to be asked. So Taiwan has sent up fighters as Chinese warplanes are crossing the median line of the Taiwanese Strait. And we have to understand what is Taiwan Strait, then only we can know about the median line as well. This is the median line and this is the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan Strait lies between Taiwan and mainland China and it connects East China Sea in the north to the South China Sea in the south. Another one I said was the Balabac Strait. Balabac Strait lies between, or we can say connects the Sulu Sea with the South China Sea. Alright. And also we have other important straits such as the Luzon Strait, which connects the South China Sea with the Philippines Sea. And when we talk about the Strait of Malacca connects the South China Sea with the Andaman Sea. So these seas are important and that is why this question is also important. In reference to ghadials, consider the following statements. So first statement is ghadials are found only in India, Nepal and Bangladesh. Ghadials are listed as critically endangered by the IUCN Red List. Only the river Chambal has natural surviving population of ghadial. So there are certain tricks such as only the river Chambal has natural surviving population of ghadial. That means other may have population but naturally they are not there. They are bred in captivity and then they are left out in the rivers. So certain key things you have to keep in mind, then only you can tackle such questions. Actually, ghadials are found only in India and Nepal but not Bangladesh naturally. Ghadials are listed as critically endangered by the IUCN Red List. And not only the river Chambal but other tributaries of Ganga also have natural surviving population of the river, of the ghadial population. Okay. So how many statements given above is or are not correct? First is not correct, and third is not correct. Second is correct. One statement only will be our correct answer. That is how you answer this question. One statement. We had to choose not correct ones, right? So two statements are not correct. So two statements only will be the correct answer. One statement only is correct. See, these are the conclusions we have to ensure we do not get. LA Zoo has inked pact with the Bihar government and Wildlife Trust of India to conserve ghadials. What are ghadials? Ghadials are actually extant population of crocodiles that have a snout which is bulbous. Bulbous snout means like this. I will show it to you in the next diagram as well. This is the bulbous snout that it has. It looks like ghada, or in Hindi we call it ghada. In English we call it pot, the ghada. So hence it gets its name ghadial, and it is listed in Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act and as critically endangered in the IUCN Red List. There are certain other important facts about ghadial is that it derives its name from ghada. I have told you that. This also renders ghadial the only visibly sexually dimorphic crocodilian. What does that mean? Sexual dimorphism means that different genders of the same species can have different characteristics. Supposedly, the ghadial, male ghadial is bigger and female ghadial is smaller in size. So this is sexual dimorphism. These species are largely piscivorous. That means fish eating. They eat fish. They are very shy and do not generally come in contact with humans. They are the most efficient fish catchers. They prefer deep, fast-flowing rivers because it is easier for them to swim. They have small hands. And however, adult gharials, they have also been observed in still waters, branches such as jheel, and also in velocity-free aquatic environment, deep holes, which are known as kunds. So it could be asked about their habitat as well. So you have to remember all this. Apart from this, about gharials, historically in different countries they were found, such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, southern parts of Bhutan and even Nepal. Today they survive only in Nepal and India. In different Ganges river system they are found, such as Girwa of Uttar Pradesh, Son of Madhya Pradesh, Ramganga of Uttarakhand, Gandak of Bihar, Chambal of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, and even Mahanadi of Odisha. And that is why it is important for us to know about it. Then comes sports, because UPSC can ask us about sports as well. Novak Djokovic beats Casper Ruud to win record 23rd Grand Slam title. Which country does Casper Ruud belong to? Casper Ruud actually belongs to Norway. Option D here will be the correct answer, and that is why it is important for us to know about sports as well. So you have to understand that Novak Djokovic, who is from Serbia, many people don't know that as well. Serbia won his 23rd Grand Slam title by beating Casper Ruud. He also broke a tie with rival Rafael Nadal for the most major single trophies in the history of men's tennis, which dates to 1800s. What is Grand Slam? That is also important for us to know. See, Grand Slam tournaments are four tournaments which are called majors, and they offer the most ranking points, prize money, media attention. The Grand Slam itinerary consists of the Australian Open, which happens in mid-January, French Open, which is also known as Roland Garros, from late May to early June, then Wimbledon in June-July, and the US Open in August to September. So all these four majors are known as the Grand Slam. Each tournament is played over a 2-week period. When it comes to Australian and US tennis, it is played on hard court. When it comes to French, on clay, and Wimbledon is on grass. Wimbledon is the oldest among the four, which was founded in 1877, followed by US in 1881, French 1891, Australian Open in 1905. Alright, so all these important points are important because UPSC is unpredictable and we have to be ready. What is the theme of the World Day Against Child Labour 2023? Every child deserves a childhood. Happy children lead to happy nation. A world free of child labour, social justice for all, and child labour. Themes are also one of the favorite questions of UPSC. Option D here, that is social justice for all and of child labour. End child labour is the correct answer over here. So if we talk about the explanation, today is World Day Against Child Labour. The theme of this year is social justice for all and child labour. It emphasized the link between social justice and child labour. If we are socially just, we will ensure that our children are not labor, they are getting proper education. And this year we will mark the 21st World Day Against Child Labor. Origin of this day can be traced back to 2000. So these questions are important. According to the official website of the United Nations, approximately 160 million children worldwide are involved in child labor. That means 1 in 10 children. Only 26.4% of children worldwide receive social protection cash benefits. That is too less. From 2000 to 2020, child labor decreased. This could be a prelims statement that could be asked. So remember that. Child labor decreased by 85.5 million, which dropped from 16% to 9.6%. Globally, only 1.1% of the GDP is spent on social protection for children and only 0.4% of the GDP for children in Africa. African children are the most exploited ones. Without mitigation strategy, child labor could increase by 8.9 million by the end of 2022. So we have to remember these important points. Captagon, a term recently seen in the news, refers to which of the following? A new cell in mammals, a part of the brain, a pill or a warplane? The correct answer to this question is a pill. That is option C. Alright, so let us see what is Captagon. Captagon pills crises have occurred. It is mainly manufactured in Syria. Remember that. It is a highly addictive amphetamine type drug manufactured in Syria, produced mainly in Syria, smuggled across West Asia. These are counterfeit which are being used right now. These are not the original ones. Original ones were produced in 1960s by a German company by the same name. It was used to treat attention deficit disorders, narcolepsy and other conditions as well. It was highly used by ISIS militants, as we saw in one of the movies as well. About this pill only, Captagon pills, like other amphetamine based drugs, they stimulate the nervous system and of course they produce a boost of energy through that, let someone stay awake for longer periods of time and also produce a feeling of euphoria. It also enhances someone's focus, although it is not available freely to be used. Okay, that is why counterfeit is being used. So if you want to get in touch with me with respect to the PDF, you can subscribe to my Telegram channel. If you have any question with respect to UPSC, you can talk to me on my Instagram as well. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।